and welcome to Health Digest. I'm Chiemerie and I'm excited to be your host on today's edition of the program. If this is your first time of tuning in, I'd like to welcome you and let you know that this is your one-stop health program that aims to optimize you, keeping body and soul in sync. We're going to be doing so much on the program. We're going to give you the updates from the world of health on the global and on the national scale. We're going to be looking at the top stories making the news in the world of health. And we're going to be speaking to the experts as well as the beneficiaries of health optimization. All that in just a little bit. Here is your health news. Welcome right back to Health Digest. Today is an exciting one on the show, and we're going to be, going in a different direction today. Today, we're going to be interviewing the father of a very blessed child. Yes, this particular kid had an injury, or rather had a predicament with his health. And the good people of AIT helped to raise awareness to ensure that the medical bills were sorted out. Now, I can tell you this story, or I can allow the father to tell you himself and what this has birthed. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Health Digest. I did tell you today we're going to be taking a different route, and who better to tell the story than the father of the blessed child. So before we get to that, I'm going to introduce you to my guest in the house. I'm going to start with the gentleman to my right in white. What is your name, kind sir?
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much. My name is Christian Wamba, comrade.
All right. Nice to meet you, Christian.
The pleasure is mine.
And what is your name, dear father?
Okay, my name is a comrade Adim Chinubi Innocence Okireke.
And also the father of
baby Chiemerie.
Baby Chiemerie.
Siona Innocent.
Congratulations again on everything that has transpired. All right, so we're going to be getting the facts on this story and the way after. So let's get this story from start. I know that AIT has been a big part of the success story of this amazing baby in question. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, actually, if I start telling the story the way it fits right now, it might take us the whole day, but I'm going to summarize it. Few months into gestation, as my wife's pregnancy, one day I was in the office. I think at her 6th month, I was called. She called me that she came for antenatal, and then the nurses have to hold her back, that she's not going back. I said, what's the problem? She said that they noticed a drop in the heartbeat in the fetus in the womb. I said, how is that possible? You have been going for your checkups, your antenatal, faithfully and regularly. So at this point, what changed? Well, she stayed in that hospital for about 5 days to be stabilized, because then I think the procedures, there's a report that shows that the normal range should be 130 to 140. I'm not a doctor, but I know for that particular heartbeat or whatever measurement they told me, they said the normal range should be 120, between 130 to 140. But then she was having 110, which is a very serious situation. So at the point they stabilized her to about 113, discharge her, then we have to manage it. But one significant thing happened. There's a woman that had about 120. At lunch, the woman lost the baby. She gave birth. It was a stillbirth. But series of scans showed that the heartbeat of the baby had already dropped significantly while in the womb.
Yes.
But then the baby was kicking actively. So it became a confusion to the doctors.
The reading is saying one thing, the baby is acting
active. It's
differently.
active, yeah, it's acting differently. So they have to do what they call, there's another type of scan they did, and according to them, they said the result came out fine, because it was like, the result was 8/10. Okay, I think it's, what we call it, something profile. They have to show if the baby is complete in the womb. So they said the baby is complete, the baby is fine. But the problem is the heartbeat is just low. So at that point, it became a confusion. Some of them were advising for evacuation and all that, but my wife being strong.
At about how many?
That was about 6
months?
months.
Wow.
6 months. So, but then my wife put up with her faith, and then God helping us, the pastors, family members, friends, praying and all that. She kept pushing. At a point, the thing became stabilized, came up to about 118, 119, with some medications and supports. We continued in that manner, and the doctor gave a recommendation that childbirth will be through cesarean section. That's yes. We said, okay, no problem. But then my wife didn't want that because this is our third child. For the first two, it was through normal delivery. So she prayed and said, God, don't allow this for me. I said, yes, in as much as we are praying, but let's keep hope alive that any which we let it go well. Fast forward to the 9th month. Within that period, I traveled. I went from official duty. I was on offshore. Just about 2 weeks to the due date, the EDD or something. She called me. Even when I was about prepared returning, she called me that she's in the hospital, where that she's in the labor room. So my friends took her there. Before you know, she called me again that she have put to bed. I said, I was so confused. Because then we have already wrapped up for a battle for the cesarean section and all that. So to me, it was a miracle on its own that the baby came out without any interference by the doctor. Even I heard before the doctor could arrive, the baby was already out. So to me, it was a miracle. Then the name Chiemerie have not surfaced. And before now, I always give my children names while in the womb. But this particular one, I never did because of the situations around it. The complications, the complaints, the in and outs, the off and on, the whole thing got me deterred. So I wasn't sure of what was coming. So I wasn't fast to give that name. So, but one day, when I now arrived that day, she delivered. They have already brought her home. She was healthy. She was okay. I asked her, did they say the baby is okay? She said, the baby is fine. Send me pictures. She sent me cute pictures of my baby. I was so happy. 3 days for the baby at home. One of our women in the church, the women president, came and noticed that the baby is breathing fast. She complained. I was like, what's the problem? This will have started again. I became a bit disturbed. She went. My brother here, Comrade Wamba, visited also and told me, Comrade, that this baby is not breathing well because of the way she was breathing fast. But then I have to console myself that, for the fact that she came out alive, probably something better is on the way. But disturbed a bit, I have to take my wife and say, no, let's go back to the hospital. We went back to the hospital. On getting to the hospital, the reactions of the nurses there destabilized me the more. The matron received the baby and started nodding her head, like when she checked some few vitals, the SpO2 and this. At the point, I told my wife, we need to give this baby a name. I think the name that just flashed was that Chiemerie, meaning that God has won. Because already the battle I felt I was going to face during the delivery, God won that over for me. So I just gave the baby that name, Chiemerie, before the issue of heart condition started manifesting by the medical reports. Fast forward to when we were now sent for the final confirmatory echo scan, the ECG. We got in there. The woman spent more than 30 minutes examining my baby. She will do this. She will rub the gel again, clean again. She became so uncomfortable. She excused my wife and said, please, madam, excuse us. Under air-conditioned room, I started sweating automatically because I knew something was wrong. She said, Mr. Okereke Asema, please, just you have to take it the way it is. That what she is seeing here is a rare, complex situation. That was her words. I went off. I shut down immediately. I said, Maswara, I don't understand. She said that she doesn't understand what she's seeing. As a consultant, wow. I said, okay, don't worry. So what's the way out? Is there any solution? She said, yes, but it will require a huge sum of money, and sometimes it's not done in Nigeria. The baby needs to undergo 2 to 3 stages of surgery. I say, what type of surgery, man? She said, open heart surgery. I said, I don't understand. Do you need to put an equipment and instrument inside the baby to do the surgery, or you have to cut her open. He said the baby will be cut open. I said, come on, I've not heard about that before. That you open up a baby for a heart surgery. So to me, you know,
That must have been a very traumatic
it
experience.
was a very traumatic experience, honestly. Because the only time I heard about heart surgery was for Kano Uncle, you know, and an adult, do you understand? So I don't know such a thing could also happen for a baby. So at that point, I was like, sorry, ma, please, let me bring my wife in. Don't worry, she will understand. She's a scientist. She will at least understand your terms. Please, I will be here to calm her down. I called for her. She came in with the baby. I said, please, baby, sit down. Ma, please, and I told to my wife, please, there's a bad news, but just put yourself together. I said, ma, please, repeat that thing you said. She told my wife that. My wife there and then started shedding tears, crying. I have to console her. We went home and then waited for the result to be out. While driving home, we nearly killed ourselves on the way because I was trying to control that emotion while driving. And this was between 7 to 7:30 down in the evening, p.m. I didn't know there was a truck trying to leave the service lane into the highway on this Apo AYA expressway. I noticed it late. I almost ran into that truck because that cry my wife was doing at the back was distracting me. So, but I now saw and swerved my car and then returned back to balance. And I said, please, if we die here while struggling for this, nobody will talk about this baby. All they will say is those couple that went to the hospital to do what? To take their baby for examination died. So you can see where the baby is coming in, but the couple comes first. So please. Yeah. So our manager will go to him. She now let the whole cat loose and then cried and cried and cried. I said, man, I went to my room, locked my door. I was doing my own share of the cry too, you know. Thinking of the next thing to do. I started calling my friends, my brothers, but nobody seemed to understand what I was saying. Remember, as a father, remember as her parents, we have been doing this running around for weeks without involving anybody. We're trying to see how we can get solution, trying to see how we can hear at least a good news. Maybe a doctor tell us that, okay, no, these people made a mistake here. Don't worry, we'll handle it this way. But every other report was coming out the same. Some will even come out worse. A doctor even told me that, this condition, it will require up to 4 stages of surgery, not even 3.
How exactly did you deal with the issue at that time? Because we still have so much to unpack on our conversation.
Yes, honestly, as I said, honestly, it's a whole
So I'd like to
story.
know what role my amazing organization played, because that is a major reason why you are here. We're continuing the story.
Partnership, good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So at that point, you know, I have to come back to my feet after some days, trying to now, because now I'm not faced with reality. So the issue is, how do we raise this fund? We're talking about 21 or 20-something million.
As of then?
That's of then.
As of then.
Of then. I like that because at the point, as we were going, we were spending more, even when they arrived in India. Sure, the total sum was almost 40 million spent on this baby for the surgery. So, but now, people are not throwing up their views. Go and meet this person, go and meet this person. So someone now told me, have you talked to AIT? They are good in this, so they can help you. They have a corporate social responsibility that will help you do this. I have to run here immediately. Honestly, that's why I'm so passionate about this. This studio, this television station gave me a warm reception. In fact, they welcomed me like their child. The very first day I stepped in here, that was on 26th December. That same year, that's last year, 2024. That was the same day I was asked. They asked me, okay, now you have to come back, submit your letters, do these pictures. I was carrying everything in my car. I said, I have everything. I have my system. Let me type the letter. Immediately, I typed the letter, print. They helped me print. We did everything, and then submitted. Already, I have a video of the recording during the examination process. So they said, okay, let them see. They said, okay, this can go. We'll have to take it off from there. AIT was airing this thing free of charge. Honestly, without any charge, without any, they just gave me the time, say, look, between this and this, they will air it. And it was amazing. They keep airing it as they promised. So I never knew we can get such I would like to say, arm of help from our country. The way people talk about Nigeria, and then you feel that everything is messed up. But we still have some institutions who have human hearts. And I give it to AIT.
I definitely would love to say thank you for appreciating us.
Yes.
We pretty much have a legacy of love, light, and spreading love everywhere we go. It is the African experience. So I'd like to know what actually happened as AIT stuck its neck out on this particular case.
Okay, then.
In very quick summary.
Okay, good. You know, we have been on the media, social media, friends have been doing their best. It gave us a wider coverage. A wider people now have to know about it. People have to call in. You know, Nigerians will even send, during the announcements on the television, you see people sending 200 naira. That is to show commitment. That is community service. Yeah. And that is what we are asking for, loving one another. We have to now, at the point, it got to my governor. My governor have to wade in. That was when the whole thing was just, it was like we are failing. Because we have to travel even without the funds being complete up to 1/4. But with faith, I said, let's go. Over there, because the baby went into this theater 2 times.
Now, I'd like to just pause you really quick. While all this was happening, I mean, the Bible says there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. While this was happening, just like he's rightly said, they're about to go into the theater again. What was your mood at the time? Hi, my baby has issues with his heart. What was it for you at that time?
The good news there is that it's
Before the good news came, what was the mood?
News.
All right.
The good news there is that it wasn't just his baby, it was our baby. Because he's a brother and a friend. By the grace of God, we were classmates in school. And it got to a point that we met ourselves down here in Abuja. So when we met ourselves here, we became brothers than being friends. So when the whole situation was unfolding, I would always come around and ask him, how is everything going? Most times, good thing is that most times I'm the one that take the baby to the hospital when he's not around. Even when the baby was put to bed, he wasn't even around. He just called me, comrade, my wife put to bed. I said, wow, because we've been expecting. Once in a while, he'll call me before the bed. He would tell me that, see this, see that. I said, God will do it. Even when he was telling me that he doesn't even know the name to give to the baby, I told him, just relax, that the name will still come, because I know that God is about to do something. Once they brought the baby from the theater, I think outside the grandmother, I was the second person to carry that baby. And when I carried her, I looked at the baby, and she came out with a very wonderful smile. And I know that that baby is a destined child. So I've been there for them because it's equally my own child.
So
I've been encouraging, helping out in my own little way. But when the whole thing got out of control, we have to go on our knees.
Wow.
We have to ask God for his intervention, because there is no other person who could have done it other than God.
I definitely agree with you on that.
There is one thing he did. As a father, he made me realize that parents are meant to stand for their children, no matter the situation. I still give the wife that, because the wife herself was more, at times the wife looks more stronger than him. When I come, the wife will tell me, Oga, comrade, don't worry, we are pushing, we are doing this. When I saw that zeal, I have to flow in. Because you hear some people that will tell you, is it not a baby? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do? But we are talking about life.
A human being.
A human being. That you don't even know what that human being is going to be tomorrow. So when I saw that enthusiasm in the parents, I don't have any other option than to cue in and also to see how to bring other people along.
I like the
And
fact that you mentioned that it's not just his child, it is your child, yeah. It is our child. I mean, there's an adage that says it takes a village to raise a child, and you've truly proven that. And I like the fact that it seems the temperaments and the emotions were evenly shared at different points in time, so that when there was need for strength, one person had that, and when there was time for panic, the other person had a shoulder. I will definitely love to meet her and this amazing star baby very, very soon. But let me get back to the father. So I'd like to know, we left off at you getting back to the theater for the second time. So let me know how things
Yes.
transpired from there.
Yes, at that point, because I was getting the report, I didn't travel with them. My wife took the baby alone to India. So at that point, no other hope to raise funds, you know. That was when God used our amiable governor, Dr. Alex Chiemerie, to wade in. Like, he came in and then, you know, there's something we don't want making public, but I tell my wife, look, this story will definitely come out.
Yeah.
The baby herself will even share her story. That was when they now did installations, because the installations they did.
So do you want to very quickly give a message to your governor on this note?
Honestly, my amiable governor, I'm also planning and seeking seriously to come and meet you in person and bring baby Chiemerie to you to say thank you. I've done a video, I've done a thank you write-up, I've sent a letter, but I need to come and see you, sir, in person to say thank you for coming in, for showing yourself compassionate as a leader. Let me tell you, oh my God, a minister of this federation told my wife, I will not mention the person's name, when my wife cried to her, knelt down, please, must save my baby, the minister said, madam, please leave me alone. Shouted and turned down my wife and said, if your daughter dies.
That's how you people have lots around.
If your daughter dies, are you the only
Yeah.
person? Are you the only person that will lose the baby?
I'm
Please
telling
leave
you.
me. A former governor told my wife, when the wife went to their church to visit to make comment, he said, look at you begging around.
That's how you
my wife
people
had to shut her down and
use
say,
the
look,
right word. That's how you people have lots
lots
around.
I said, please stop this. Do I look like a baby girl? 2,000 that she gave her back. My husband can take care of me. What you're looking for is more than this.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things happened. A senator told me, why am I coming to him? That is he a medical doctor? Does his office look like a hospital? To tell you the country we are in. So that was what really amazed me when I see some of these institutions like yours, my governor and some other indigent Nigerians, some other good Nigerians coming in to help. We passed through a lot, so it's not a good experience. I don't wish it for anybody.
Yeah, sure.
Nobody. I don't wish it for anybody at all. I don't have an enemy, but if I have one, I don't wish it for my enemy. We are downtrodden. We are heartbroken. We are disgusted. We are rubbed on the mud. But God, in all, came through.
Wow, I don't even know the right words to use at some of the treatments and the responses that were meted out to you, especially with the fact that a baby was the person in question here.
Honestly.
But I'm happy.
An innocent child.
An innocent child. I'm
Innocent
happy to
child.
also note that just as there's the negatives out there, we're also able to see that there is also positivity. So the assertion that may Nigeria not happen to us has been used in a negative way, but just like my amazing organization and your governor, Nigerians do have a lot of good in them. Really give us the real meat, the dates, and what we should look forward to.
That's a wonderful one. Honestly speaking, the foundation is basically dedicated to
So there's a
support.
foundation. I didn't hear that mentioned. So
No,
please
you know,
tell me.
we are coming one after the other.
All right.
It was what triggered the birth of this foundation, because there are a whole lot of them outside that are very vulnerable, and they don't even have anyone to speak for them. But through this foundation, because we are going to dedicate this foundation more especially to the vulnerable people, just like he said, those who can't even access social media and the rest.
So is there any particular event that you're having to commemorate this
Sure.
milestone?
Yes, sure. That's the birth of the Chiemerie's Heart Foundation, and it's coming up on the 19th of this month.
19th of October.
On 19th of this month, that's 19th of October. So we are working on it.
What should we look forward to at that launch?
One is
And what is the impact that it's meant to reach?
Yeah, the impact is very simple. Reaching out to the vulnerable people, the less privileged, those who doesn't have the voice to speak for them. This foundation will serve as a voice for them. You know, a whole lot of foundations comes up, and at the end of the day, the owners use it to enrich themselves. But here we are going to be very, very explicit, where every drop will count. And we are looking forward, because some people have started throwing in their issues. But at the moment, we can't even do anything because we've not launched the foundation. But once we launch this foundation, we're going to spread our tentacles around to ensure that there will be people who will be able to help us. We have volunteers as well.
Wow, that's quite interesting. And for us at Health Digest, we're going to be keeping up. We're going to be coming to check things out and to see the
That would be
impact
wonderful.
and your reach. So in very, very quick words, 60 seconds, exactly 60 seconds, I'd like for each of you to just give a call to action as we wrap up this program. I'm going to start with you, sir. 60
Okay, yeah,
seconds.
my call to action is that please, Nigerians and the whole world, this is a call to full service. It's a call to save lives. It's a call to reach out to people, souls who are dying, the young hearts, to save these little hearts. Remember, every heartbeat counts. Baby Chiemerie being resilient enough as a baby to fight through God's help. The vision has come. We are in the Chiemerie Heart Foundation, as to be launched in October 19th, next 2 weeks from now. We want you to help and support this dream, this vision. God bless you. Thank you.
I'm tempted to say amen. Amen.
You've already
Amen.
said it.
Amen to that. And let me get your quick
Just like what you
takeaway.
said, the call to action is very simple. It's a call to service. When you talk about call to service, most of us are more Catholic than the Pope, and we think that helping, going to church is the most important thing. But there are so many things that God is stated in the Bible that we need to be doing. Helping one another. The Bible said, love thy neighbor as thyself.
That's correct.
Once we have that mentality of loving our neighbors just like ourselves, I think that's the best for us, and that is called for humanity.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. In fact, I feel all butterflies knowing that the amazing organization I'm in was a big part to the success story. So we're looking forward to the Thanksgiving on the 19th of October.
Yeah.
We're going to be celebrating and
Launching of the foundation.
we're going to be launching the foundation, and not just that, we're going to be getting support to do more of this for every voiceless person out there, for every child that isn't able to speak up for themselves. The Chiemerie Foundation is here for you. On the 19th of October, we're going to be continuing this conversation. Stay blessed and not stressed. I'm Chiemerie.